2 years ago, I released the greatest, world-renowned, Oscar-nominated, Nobel Peace Prize-winning historic piece of cinematography of the century, Suited at the Christmas Dinner featuring Riz X. Which, for the 2 or 3 viewers watching now who were around back then, you know that it ended on a ball-busting cliffhanger. IGN even compared it to Infinity War, claiming, Marvel is good, but ain't nothing like a CBD bro high story. We need that part 2 ASAP, slime. So, after hearing from the tens of the thousands of people who watched this masterpiece, please, I need the part 2. Why, CBD bro, have you forsaken us? Just show me how it ended and I'll suck your dick. So anyway, in the spirit of giving, I will bless you all with the conclusion of this epic thriller. But first, because 99% of you are new here, let's watch the Smells weird in here from our mom, but thankfully, that's where it ended, at least for now. We arrive at Grandma's house, and in the 15-minute drive there, the za had fully melted into our systems. Also, because this was a while back, we were not the zagas we are now, so we were really banking on there being no one there, cause even though we can go upstairs, we can't just walk in like, hey guys, Merry Christmas! Yeah, Merry Christmas. And of course, in the spirit of giving, fate had given us a big and juicy fuck you. Cause when we arrived and opened the front door, we were greeted by every cousin there existed. Place was looking like a McDonald's on a Friday night, cause I swear, half of my cousins I had never seen in my life. We tried to quickly go upstairs into the safe zone, but before we could, we heard, hey, where you going? Come downstairs. So now our plan A was spoiled, and we knew that this was gonna be one tough mission, cause well, as we know, it is a tradition in every family to roast the hell out of the younger generation. First thing that was said as soon as we sat down was directed at my brother.
So where's the little girlfriend you came with last Christmas?
Yeah, we broke up.
Huh! Well, of course you did. You ugly as fuck, boy! Why you laughing, son? You're even worse. Looking like Peppa the Pig.
The adults alternated between talking about their political views and roasting us, so it was quite a roller coaster ride. One moment they're arguing if Joe Biden is conspiring with China, and next they're telling us how we have it so good, and how back in their day they had to work 12 hours a day at a coal mine for 30 cents an hour, and that we need to grow up and enter the real world. Anyway, after about 2 hours of munching and getting roasted, we decided to go for another walk. So first we went upstairs and rolled another impeccable spliff. As we were about to go out the front door, we were greeted by Uncle Ronnie, but me being faded and well, just stupid too I guess, I was holding the spliff in my hand like a present, out there for everybody to see. And Uncle Ronnie, being the drunk and outgoing party man he is, was quick to comment,
Is that a joint?
And in my head, I thought we're screwed. He'll never live this down. He's gonna tell everyone, and on top of everybody roasting us about getting zero hoes, they're also gonna roast us for being drug addicts.
Finally, you guys grew some balls. Have fun with that.
After that, we were like, damn! Didn't know he was chill like that. And went outside to smoke the spliff. As we were puffing on the za, we were informed via text message of a local Christmas party going on at Ricky's house. So as you do while bugging off the moon rock, we ordered a Uber without telling anyone at the Christmas function we're leaving. And the reason for that is, well, that Kush had some otherworldly abilities, cause it got us so suited we completely forgot we were supposed to stay overnight at Grandma's place. And that fact did come to bite us later. But for now, the Uber arrived, so we hopped in and started driving to Ricky's place. Where even though we didn't know it at the time, the craziest Christmas party in the history of Christmas parties was being thrown. Be blessed, my fellow degenerates. You just witnessed a Christmas classic comparable to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, to John Hughes' Home Alone. But it cannot truly be a classic without an ending. But before I show you the thrilling conclusion to this epic saga, let me tell you about my greatest invention and the gift that's worth getting for all my Zaza enjoyers. I'm talking, of course, about the Bro Cloud, the #1 entry-level dry herb vaporizer with a stainless steel metal body, a 2000 mAh battery compared to its competitors' 850, and modern USB-C charging. It's the only Zaza device you'll ever need. To top it off, we just launched an even further upgraded version of the Bro Cloud, improving charge times and adding a handy vibration feature. Right now, both are on sale. If you want to know more, all you have to do is be at least 18, go to the pinned comment and check it out. I now present to you the continuation of the most epic Christmas ever. As we sat in the Uber, fried like a couple of Kentucky drumsticks, it finally came to us. Bro, I'm high, not drunk. I can't hang out with a bunch of hammered scallywags.
Shit, dog. You low-key spinning facts. Our auras definitely won't match. Let's go back inside real quick and get messed up off that.
Ready to go now? Yeah. Let me just get the Uber, man. Now, being cross-faded and having no idea what the was going on, we arrived at the party where Ricky didn't greet us cause he was passed out drunk in the bathroom. But thankfully, the main homie Salamander did come in clutch and greeted us with pupils dilated and mouth shaking, most likely from being cold? Yeah, let's go with that. PG-13 up in this. Anyway, there was a lot of people there, and Salamander offered us some of his cold medicine from, the cold he had. But we declined, because we were already drunk and high, and thought introducing a third chemical would, kill us. After Salamander finished yapping to us for 5 minutes, he left to talk to the host, and so did we, until... hello?
Motherfuckers, where is y'all? Can't even handle an itsy bitsy joint or what?
No, we
Shut the f up and get back here, or we're selling your new PS5 at the pawn shop and buying a gram of that pure Colombian cocaine.
Okay, we're coming. So we went back, still cross-faded, opened our presents, and enjoyed the rest of our Christmas with our family as you should. Meanwhile, Salamander ended the party the next day at 10 a.m. at a stranger's house, and Ricky woke up in the bathtub with a killer headache and a heart full of regret. What a wonderful holiday. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone. But to keep the jolly vibes going, I'll tell you about more wild stories with me, Salamander, and Rick. Man, smoking too much is such an awkward thing, especially because of how normalized getting faded has become. Nobody wants to be the guy who kills the vibe by admitting they graining the thaw out. Like, dudes be knowing they approaching their limit, but peer pressure is a bitch. Like this one time in school when we were smacking the paper penjamin on lunch break, and I could tell everybody was nearing the border between Yodiland and the Upside Down, but this motherfucker Salamander just kept on passing the J, and nobody wanted to be the first one to back out. Everyone kept on puffing and puffing until this one motherfucker just started puking. Like, goddamn. Safe to say, dude probably hasn't smoked again till this day. But that was high school. Most kids weren't on that Wiz Khalifa pack like Salamander. I mean, this dude's parents were barely home, so mans must have just been low-key looking for attention by acting out, but instead all he got was Snoop Dogg's tolerance and all the school thotties daily driving his dick. Some of you might not even know what it feels like when you smoke too much though. Shit, I know I didn't. My dumbass always just concluded that the stuff was laced, which looking back at it now makes me feel like a dinglebop for real. I mean, how you gonna smoke way more than you usually do in a situation you're not super comfortable in and then blame it on the weed? It's like a drunk driver suing an alcohol brand for making him unable to drive straight. Shit, it's like going to the store and buying too much food and then blaming the cashier for not stopping you. Like, bro, it's not on Jimmy the Plug God. Dude is probably smoking the same stuff as we speak. And yeah, I know sometimes it could actually be laced, but what does telling yourself that help? Like, wouldn't it be better to believe it's not and your brain is just tweaking? Then you could maybe, calm yourself down. Unlike when you've convinced yourself the Plug is a fucking supervillain going around giving his customers schizophrenia. Like, goddamn, son, someone's gotta like the bat signal for real. But shit, I'm out here preaching like I ain't done this myself. Back when I was younger, I did green out a couple times, but since then, I have developed rules I follow to avoid this at all costs. Like, for example, first rule, you don't always gotta get obliviated, bruh. Seems simple enough, right? But back in the day, every time we were smoking, my dumbass felt like I had to get higher than last time. Once the J reached me, I just... Thanks, bro. You guys got another one? Bro. No. There's just some basic etiquette too, like everybody wanna get faded equally, but one thing with smokers is they usually always chill and peaceful, so when you start hogging a spliff, rarely is somebody gonna forcefully take that shit from you. Just next time when you pull up, they'll bag your ass, pistol whip you, throw you in the trunk, and bury you alive next to Mr. Beast. That video would probably have to be on Rumble though. But point is, you don't always gotta be the highest in the roof. Second rule, accept your limits. This is low-key the most important and the most difficult, but you might be thinking something like, don't you mean know your limits? No, I don't, bro. from. Cause I bet most y'all know them just when you be watching Fulcrum smacking the penjamin like that bitch be only containing O2, you get a false understanding on how much mofos be actually smoking. Cause you can always do more, but what you can't do is forcefully remove the THC from your system and get less high. So don't be a victim of peer pressure just cause you wanna be cool, fool. But these rules don't mean shit if you don't factor in where you are and what you're doing. Which leads me to the day that made me come up with these rules. The time in my young life when I smoked so much in the wrong place, I was goddamn obliviated. Shit, I smoked so much I had less dialogue options than an oblivion NPC. The first time I got high outside the comfort of me or a friend's crib, it was the usual business. We were chilling with the gremlins, me, Salamander, and Ricky, smoking up, talking about how we don't fall with school and how we finna make it out the hood. You know, the usual Gen Z shit. When Salamander, being the thotty magnet he was, got a text from one of his female companions inviting to what this motherfucker claimed to be a chill hangout spot. Although I do trust the homies, knowing Salamander's track record, I was a bit sus, cause I seen the places this dude hangs out at. I'll be waking up at the middle of the night to take a piss, then check the snap only to see dudes partying at some straight up trap house bugging off fucking ketamine. Okay, can't say that on YouTube, but let's just say it wasn't weed. Anyway, you know the drill. I don't wanna go, Salamander uses his 99 speech, convinces Ricky, now it's a 2v1, and I fold. Epic victory royale. But I agreed only under the condition that none of us drink nor do anything else but smoke the Lord's loud, because it was a motherfucking Thursday after all, so I wasn't trying to pull up to school smelling like a bum, acting like a depressed middle-aged man from The Hangover. Looking back at it though, that was probably the wrong call, cause, well, you'll see. So we're walking to the crib and Salamander lights up this comically big J that he rolled back at his place with a week's supply. While we're almost finished puffing and on the edge of obliviation, I see this super dope house that seems to be having a party, so I excitedly asked Salamander, "Yo, is that the spot?" Bro, okay, that place does seem pretty dope. Oh yeah, that's the spot. Glad you fought with it. Some people are kinda put off by it from the initial appearance. Anyway, let's just go in. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You first though. Where are you going? What do you mean? The crib, bro. Leave it to Salamander to have you walk through an amazing street filled with beautiful houses and lead you to the only one that looks like Shrek's vacation home. To add to it, me and Ricky were quite frankly bugging. But as I mentioned in the previous rules, that's not always a good thing, especially when you're preparing to go into a house where your brain has calculated a 50-50 chance of being stabbed in the gut by a freaking tweaker with a kitchen knife. In my head, I was thinking, well, hoping for the saying, don't judge a book by its cover to be the case here. But oh boy, I should have judged the goddamn book by its cover and dashed off like Prime Usain Bolt. Cause what we were dealing with was in every sense of the word except not containing any of the actual substance, I think, a crack house. These people were blasting some of the most disgusting music I've ever heard. Shit sounding like the noise a speaker makes when you fiddle with the aux cord. And because I was high, that set the whole tone of my experience there. And shit, I did not know Salamander hanged out with vampires. Most of the dudes there were looking what you would imagine the local bum to be when he was young. I was in total shock. My teenage brain could not comprehend the degeneracy, the idiocy, the overall lack of humanity in that house. And it's not like I didn't try to have fun, but our highness did not mix with whatever the fuck these guys were on. At some point, I saw him pull out a vodka bottle, and they drank the whole thing in 5 minutes dry, straight from the bottle, like they were trying to speedrun liver failure. I attempted to conversate with some of them, but to no avail. I mean, what did I expect though? A drunk person usually isn't on the same wavelength as a high person, combined with the fact these dudes probably just got done sacrificing a goat to bring forth the Antichrist. I was starting to tweak the fuck out. Well, not tweak, I guess. Me and Ricky did have some fun by just bantering about how messed up of a place we had found ourselves in. All of this didn't seem to affect Salamander though, as we spotted him rizzing up a girl we assumed was the one that invited him, but we were wrong in that assessment because 5 minutes later the girl who actually invited him saw it, went up to him, yelled at him, and then slapped that man so hard it made him rethink his whole damn life. Cause as we were laughing at what had happened, he walked straight towards us and said, "Man, you guys want to do some ketamine?" Nah, he actually told us that this was probably a bad idea and that he's ready to leave if we are. Good thing too, cause if that girl hadn't slapped some sense into him, Salamander might have gone on to do the thing I mentioned like 3 times in this video. So anyway, we went back home at like 2 AM or something, put on some WWE on the TV, prepared to gleep, and got obliviated. Doesn't go much further than that. The first day back at school, a day I used to hate. I mean, can you blame me? Cause as a student, summer is the only significant amount of time you are granted to enjoy your young life, and the rest, well, back to the academic 9 to 5. But to make the clown show that is the first day back at school a bit more fun and exciting, me, Salamander, and Ricky conjured up a devious plot to add a little bit of spice into the mix. It all started on the night before the first day. We were all at Salamander's place just chilling, playing Xbox, eating Doritos, and smacking the penjamin, of course, when the conversation sailed to the topic of going back to school. It was the usual,
Man, I don't wanna go back to school. Yeah, bro, same.
until Salamander, the troubled child he was, or is, I don't know, said, "Hey guys, you know what we should do tomorrow before the opening ceremony?"
No.
We should totally spark a J. Nah, man, you know I don't like getting faded in school. That shit is so stressful. Nah, hear me out. This ain't school. It's the first day ceremony where they sing, read poems, and I don't know, maybe someone will do a flip or something too. So, wouldn't it be more fun if during all that we were faded?
He's got a point.
Okay, but just a little. You better not bring some abomination of a spliff like last time. Shit, you know me, I wouldn't do that. We decided to smoke up just a little bit before the first day. A little bit was what we agreed upon. So obviously, Salamander, being the trustworthy homie he is, would never peer pressure nor instigate a friend into smoking more than he wants. So obviously, he only rolled a small split. Okay, so here's the J.
Bruh.
This mofo heard my request of a small J to get only a bit suited and decided, okay, small, microdosed, small J, medium. Nah, fuck it, fatty. But anyway, here we are, on the park bench outside the school premises at 8:30 a.m. during wake and bake hours. And well, because me and Ricky are men of integrity and honor and would never waste Frieza, we fell to the bamboozlement of Salamander yet again and smoked the whole thing. Whereas right after, we were running a bit late, so the three of us Soink Musketeers stood up and started walking intensely to school. But honestly and thankfully, I wasn't very paranoid, unlike most of the times I got high at school, because, well, it was the first day and we didn't really have any classes except for only one introductory welcome back type thing that was supposed to last only 45 minutes, so not a big deal. Once we arrived at the auditorium, we were shell-shocked to find out the speech was already going on, and because we were looking like a couple medium rare filet mignons, we didn't really want to go in, cause we knew when we opened that door, everybody would stop and stare at us, cause that's just how it always is when you arrive to class late. And although Salamander was telling us, nah guys, don't be pussios, let's just go, we ended up sitting out the first part until lunchtime, cause we were pretty sure we wouldn't get in trouble if we just said we missed our bus or something. 30 minutes went by and lunchtime came, and because we were camped out at the cafeteria, we were the first to get their welcome back to school lunch. And what was that wonderful, significant, mouth-watering dish, you might ask? Well, it was nothing but Munchie's heaven. We were served some beans, a boiled egg, and some turkey meat or something. Oh, and I can't forget the 1% milk that tastes like it was mixed with water. Fantastic. But even though the food should have been pretty dog poop, it was actually pretty aight. I mean, it wasn't no Big Mac and McNuggets, but because we were high, it was edible. No. I would even go as far and say it was pretty good. After eating our gulag food faster than everybody else, we were the first back in the auditorium, and because of that, we got the best seats in the house, at the far back corner where no one could see us. And although we had missed the only important part of the day, that being the introductory speech by the principal, we did have a jolly old time listening to the honor students' inspirational poems and songs about life by giggling and chuckling in the back like math.
Hey, yo. Chemistry.
And with that, the first day had come to an end, and we went back home and played Xbox High. Running out of za. Man, I swear, this phenomenon is always so unexpected. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason, however long I plan ahead and try to time my grass running out, it always comes kicking in like the damn Kool-Aid man. I'll be out here the night before looking at the bottom of my grinder like,
Okay, I guess I gotta buy some more tomorrow.
and then when the next day comes, I'll be all flabbergasted like, oh boy, nothing better than some good old za at the end of the day. What? This can't be. How have I ran out of za? I literally just had some yeah, shit. And now that you realize that you out of grass, you got two, well, three options. You either accept your fate and just go on with your night, hit up your plug and get ready to lose out on your hard-earned money, or the legendary special down bad method I often do, empty out all your grinders, search through all your pockets, and scrape together one last hit so you can delay the buying of the za for one more day. But although I do this quite often, I don't recommend it, cause I swear, those scrape together hits are always some 20% plastic, 20% dust, 20% dirt smack dabbly doos. So every time I do hit that awful abomination of a bowl, it'll have me all paranoid about what the f did I just smoke like? Man, why that smell like burning plastic? Why am I not even high? Bro, why am I so lightheaded? Mom, I think I'm dying. So basically what I'm saying is, scraping together hits from basically nothing isn't really the healthiest move you can make. But shit, hitting up the plug at the end of the day is a struggle in its own right. Cause I don't know why these damn plugs are always unavailable when you need them the most. Like Mr. Invisible could be spamming me all day with Snapchats like... But then later, when you hit man's up asking for some za, he disappears like the Avatar. Doesn't even open your messages. These plugs really don't care about us for real, man. Speaking of which, that reminds me of this one time when we ran out and had to travel through the whole of the ghetto version of Narnia just to get some za. It was just a normal day, well, night, where me, Salamander, and Ricky had planned to smoke some grass and just chill. And of course, Salamander, being the ultra reliable photographic memory dude he is, informed us that he def has enough grass for us all to enjoy at his place. So me and Ricky pull up, excited as you can be, only to arrive at the house and be informed, yo, what's good? Are you ready to get absolutely schmacked? She, of course, Phil, but what? Yeah, I just checked my room and, well, it turns out I don't have any grass. What do you mean you have no grass? You said you had a ton, bro. Yeah, I mean I did, but I kinda smoked it all. Man, what the... Why you gotta do us like that, bro? You got us all hyped for this, and now we're here in your mansion and you're telling us there's no grass? Like bro, I'm finna cry for real, man. Yeah, bro, you're right. I'm sorry. I messed up. But don't worry. I already hit up Jimmy the plug god. We can drive there now. Okay, sure, let's go. So we go into Salamander's parents' car, which was sleek AF, and quite literally went to the bad part of town with it, feeling like some mafia bosses, for real. But once we arrived at Jimmy the plug god's house, he was nowhere to be seen, and well, turns out, dude hadn't even texted Salamander back. He just had us come here in hopes that the time we arrived, he would. As we were sitting in the car, waiting for a good 15 minutes at that point, Salamander tells us the dude's probably isn't gonna respond, but he already wrote another plug and he def gonna hook us up. So we drive to a new place where this time the plug was actually waiting for us, so we hopped out the car and walked towards him. Yo, what's good, bruh? Yo, what's up? So, do you got that Zaza? Of course, yeah. Here it is. Bro, is that 2 G's like I asked? Yeah, it's just compact, you know, like a dime. Bro, fuck off. If that's 2 G's, then prove it. What are you waiting for? Put it on the scale. Nah, bro, I don't sell to people who don't trust me. Disrespectful AF. Nah, bruh, disrespectful is trying to show the long-term customer in his hour of need. Keep your diamond to yourself, big dog. We outta here. Yeah, whatever. See. As our hopes were dwindling, we were in Salamander's car about to call it quits when the only plug that was exclusive to me and nobody else knew of finally responded to my message saying to meet up and that he got the za. So we go to yet another location in hopes that finally we would get our now well-deserved bag of grass. And once we arrived at the meetup spot, which was a pizza restaurant by the way, we parked the car and text Mr. Invisible that we're outside waiting for him. A good 10 minutes goes by with no response, so the overall mood is starting to get pretty gloomy, as we quite literally have just driven around for hours trying to secure just a smidgen of za. And although we were truly experiencing a Gen Z 21st century Great Depression, we were saved with the text, Oh, he responded. Oh, snap. What'd he say, bro?
He said, yeah, coming out now.
Nice.
And this time, he actually did. Dudes came out with an apron, chef's hat, and the long-awaited bag. So we went there, and thankfully, it was actually 2 G's, not a diamond. And man, I ain't never been so glad for just a smidgen of za in my life, but can you blame me? I mean, this was a full-on journey, and although the time was like 11 p.m. at this point, we weren't too discouraged as we thought, screw it, let's pull an all-nighter, baby. So finally, after hours of waiting and talking to incompetent plugs, we arrived back at the mansion and did what we came there to do. Smoke a shit ton of grass, eat an unholy amount of munch, and wake up the next day feeling more hazy than a foggy morning. Which the highlight of the night was definitely when Salamander said he was gonna bake some magic cookies, but since we were already f***ed AF, dudes left them in the oven for like 3 hours. And then finally, when we had that oh shit, the cookies moment, we went there and found them completely burnt. But, you know, we still ate them and, well, they kinda worked, I think. I don't know. We were so blasted, we probably could've eaten some damn Oreos and thought ourselves more high because of it. So, all in all, running out of za is, for some reason, always so unexpected. But I've learned to enjoy the journey as much as the destination. And although, at the time, driving around searching for was annoying AF, looking back at it, it was actually pretty fun. And the night was definitely more memorable because of it. Edibles, part of the holy trinity when it comes to getting as faded as humanly possible. And the reason they are so potent is that in the act of cooking the za, the THC transforms into something beyond its normal powers and becomes Super Saiyan za, or 11-hydroxy-THC. But let's stick to Super Saiyan because that other name isn't really cool. Anyway, if you're an OG subscriber, you know my first time doing edibles was quite a crazy experience, but I wouldn't call it anything else than, yeah, I was really freaking high. But this time, the abominations we made were no mere first-timer dose. We threw everything we had in there. The day started like any other, except I had just gotten back from Barcelona the previous night and was a bit tired. But you see, there was this really cool movie in the cinema called Oppenheimer. Anyway, me and Rizix had planned to watch Oppenheimer in the cinema sometime before August, but being us, we obviously wanted to be baked during this time, and well, the movie was 3 hours long, so just a quick hit wasn't gonna cut it. So we decided on something we hadn't done in years, that obviously being edibles. The only problem was, we don't know how to manage time, and well, once we started actually making the things, the movie had already begun. But although I do love Cillian Murphy, let's be honest, the main part of this journey was the edibles, not Oppenheimer. So we were like, screw it, we only gonna miss like the first 30 minutes. Which, if we had actually read some reviews on the movie, we would have known it's not something you go to 30 minutes late while bugging up the Zaza and the world's strongest edible. Yeah, we also, just for safe measures, smoked a bit before too. But anyway, once we made our abominations and the whole house was smelling like Snoop Dogg's beard, we sat down to eat these deep fried to get you deeply fried cookies. Ready? Ready. Bruh, they're so dry, man. Yeah, so they were awful in the taste department, but in the how messed up they gonna get you apartment, well, you'll find out soon enough. As I said earlier, just for safety, in case they were duds, we also smoked up a bit before, and we're feeling like medium-sized, cooled on the kitchen counter pizza rolls, even before the cookies hit. As we arrived in the cinema, we were, well, a little bit scared, but also excited to find out what these monstrous things were going to do to us, because, well, we hadn't done edibles in ages, and knew our tolerance towards them was zero. After buying popcorn and a medium drink, we walked in the cinema, took our seats, and sat down to watch the movie, which had been going on for 40 minutes at that point, but we thought we could still enjoy it, and we did until... Bro, I could not stop laughing, and that's when I knew the edibles had hit. Now, up until this point, I consider myself a man of pure willpower and mental fortitude, and that there's no way some green plant was gonna get me bugging. And for the first 30 minutes after feeling them hit, it was true, until I got the ultimate disability the za can curse you with. I'm talking, of course, about manual breathing. I was sat in that cinema like a full-on tweaker, and bro, it did not feel good. Like, however hard I tried to destroy the Super Saiyan Saw with my mind, I just couldn't. And RizX was low-key tweaking too. Plus the movie, well, it was kinda shit. And before you roast me in the comments, I think Oppenheimer is a great movie. Just arriving 40 minutes late and bugging off Super Saiyan Saw wasn't the best idea for a story-focused film. So, we decided to get the fuck out of there. And bro, I don't even know how to describe what I felt and saw once we opened the gates to the outside world. Bro, I was feeling like my senses were turned up to 10,000% overdrive. And bro, I'ma be honest, I was not seeing straight. So although we drove to the cinema, we were in no shape to drive back, so we just started paddling our demon-eyes looking butts home. Until at some point, we found some e-scooters, so we rented those and just started blasting away. And what an amazing time that was. Like, every switch of scenery felt like a brand new biome. Like, at some point, we took a little detour through a park, and bro, we felt like we was in a damn jungle. Like, even the slight rumble and turbulence we got from the road made it feel like we were true explorers on not e-scooters, but one of those safari exploring buggies riding through unexplored wildland. But anyway, once we got back home, I decided to look in the mirror to see if I looked as high as I felt, and well, I looked more high. Like, I didn't even know your eyes can get that red, but there they were, looking like the eyes of the damn devil himself. Speaking of getting high AF, we doing a smoke sesh on the Discord on Sunday, where it's mine and your job to get absolutely bedazzled and just chill the fuck out. Anyway, link for the disc will be in the pinned comment, so make sure you join and pull up on the sesh. Anyway, back to me looking in the mirror. As I looked in the mirror and saw nothing but an empty vessel wandering the wrong plane of existence staring back, I got a bit frightened, cause man, I swear, my reflection was not moving in sync with me yet again. But this time, it was even worse, cause I was like 4 times higher than I was when I first did edibles. So what happened next, you might be wondering? I was bugging out, looking like an uncooked steak, and I couldn't focus on anything longer than 1 second. Well, I went to sleep, cause one good thing I will say about the trip, the comfortability I felt in my bed was unlike anything I've ever felt before. My blanket was just a perfect temperature, my mattress the perfect fit, and my pillow the perfect place to lay your head. And because of that, and I'm not exaggerating on this, the very second I closed my eyes, I was asleep. Well, not like deep sleep, but nap sleep. Anyway, after closing my eyes, in about 3 minutes, I was completely knocked out. And well, I slept so much like a baby, I actually believe the Za manipulated my very core and reverted my cells and body shape to that of when I was 3 months old, to enable me to get the full experience of sleeping like a baby. Only problem was though, as I woke up like literally 10 hours later, I was still high AF. Not like can't see straight high, but like just hit the BONG high. To be honest, I was just amazed, cause I knew if we had smoked that amount of Za we put in the cookies, we might have been really lit, but nothing like we were from the cookies. And after that day, I have now learned my lesson that actual strong edibles are more comparable to mushrooms than normal bud. I think we can all agree that edibles are the final evolution of the magic green plants, and their powers should never be taken lightly. That is unfortunately a lesson I had to learn the hard way. It begins with me and the main homie Salamander and Ricky. So we're at school and the final lesson had just ended, so I picked up my Nike Elite school bag and started walking out the classroom when I heard Salamander and Ricky whisper something like, "Hey bro, come over here real quick." This had me instantly intrigued, cause knowing Salamander and Ricky, I knew that they had to have something devious planned. What's up? So bro, you excited for tomorrow's field trip? Not really, it's just some boring museum. Yeah bro, you're totally right. But what if I told you it could be more than that? It could be a night at the museum type of experience. Bro, I think I know what you're about to say, and no, I don't want to smoke a split before we go on the bus. Why not, bro? Cause last time I got high in this type of situation, I damn near shat myself from the anxiety. Got me thinking of running out the classroom screaming, "I'm not high, you're all high." Man, it ain't gonna be like last time. Me and Ricky experienced stoners. Fool? Yeah, but I'm still gonna say no, but thanks for offering, I guess. You're lost, fool. So tomorrow comes, and I go sit next to Salamander and Ricky on the bus. Cause even though looking back at it, they might have been a bad influence on me, at least they weren't NPCs like the rest of our default setting ass class. I sit down and ask them, "So, you guys high right now?" And they chuckled and were like,
Nah, man. We decided not to do it this time. Gonna save the good for the weekend. Damn, bro. That's a good idea. I'll definitely join you in the play sesh then. For sure. About 20 minutes goes by when Ricky pulls out a couple brownies. Now, I know what you're thinking.
Brownies? Bro, how did you not know they were edibles?
And the answer to that question is, well, I wasn't quite the stoner bro I am today. And at the time, at least to my knowledge, I was the only one who had done edibles before. Also, it wasn't like I wasn't sus at all. It went something like this.
Hey bro, you want one? My mom made them for the trip.
Of course, man, I'm hungry as fuck.
Bruh, that was bussin'.
Mom makes some killer brownies.
What y'all laughing at?
And then it hit me. I had been tricked, bamboozled, fooled. Bro, don't tell me that was a edible. Nah, bruh. Have y'all even done Eddies before? It hits way harder than normal Zaza. Pfft, we know. We ain't even put that much in.
How much then?
1 gram? Oh, okay, so that's 0.3 each. I guess we might be able to pull through. Nah. 1 in each brownie.
What have you done?
15 minutes after eating those brownies, we arrive at the museum. And I'm already thinking how I'm gonna escape this place. Cause if these things ain't duds, there's no way I'm gonna be able to act normal. What pissed me off the most was these guys didn't have a care in the world. Talking about, bro, this finna be a movie. Like, yeah, bro, but probably not the type of movie you're thinking of. Gonna be tweaking so much, finna have to call the local priest to exorcise that THC out of your systems, fool. So at the 35-minute mark, I feel it. The first bit of high, and it kicks pretty hard. I wouldn't say I was gone or anything, but definitely on stage 2. And now knowing they weren't duds and that it was just the beginning, I had to act quick. Cause I knew in a couple more minutes I'll most likely start slurring my words and start chewing my mouth from the dryness like...
Oh no, I'm already doing it. I gotta act quick, now or never.
Teacher, I have a problem.
What's wrong?
I'm not sure. I think I ate something bad. I think it's food poisoning, Teach.
Okay, well, go to the bathroom then.
No, Teach, that's not enough. It's too bad. I feel it. I'm about to shit. Okay. Call your parents and go home. Don't want you crapping all over this motherfucking museum, bitch. Okay. He didn't say it like that. But the point is, I had avoided certain death, at least academically. I called my dad and he picked me up. I told him what had happened and he wasn't even mad. He just laughed and was like,
You wanna go get some candy to enjoy the trip?
Sadly, Ricky's and Salamander's fate was not so happy. From what I had heard, they started tweaking like a bunch of tweaker geekers. But thankfully, they didn't get expelled or anything, cause they ended up just sneaking out and taking a bus home.
How are you already home, Ricky? You should be at the museum.
No, Mama. I think I am the museum.
I think everyone has experienced a bad high before. Even though this debuff is pretty easily avoidable by strictly blazing in optimal conditions, I ain't no sissy. If the gas is available and the activity, however ridiculous it might be, has been set, I'm in. Like, yeah, bro, I'm totally down to hit 5 fat rips at your place, then puff down a 2-gram split for dessert whilst walking to the abandoned mental asylum your cousin told you about. Sounds like a great plan. Oh, the grounds are also infested with savage rabies-infected stray dogs? Bro, no problem. I survived like 100 rounds in Kino der Toten. I know how to deal with hellhounds. I think it's the adventurous spirit in the Zaza that makes you down to do whatever. Cause I mean, it could go bad, but bro, if it goes good, it'll be like a top 5 high memory at least. I used to have a friend who always invited me to these completely straight out of a horror movie scenario adventures. And my first reaction was always like, bro, you must be tweaking off some laced green. That don't sound fun at all. But me being the broken, stupid teenager I was, always folded when he said the magic words. I got the gas. One of the stupidest things I remember agreeing to was going to this grain combine, where literally every couple years there was a story of some kids dying by drowning in the damn seeds. I mean, it was massive and the view up there was pretty cool too, I guess. But really why people went there was so they could say, yeah man, I climbed that grain combine, you know, kind of a badass. Don't really have a concept of fear anymore. I'm just a rebel at heart. What can I do?
Hey bro,
You think Brittany heard me say that? She totally wants me now. Anyway, so we're out here walking to the Pennywise evil lair the way children go missing in it, whilst puffing on this unholy spliff. The damn thing was so big, the paper couldn't handle the weight of the kush, so the Zaza was hanging off the filter like a freaking dildo. Must have been over a gram in that monstrosity of 5-minute crafts. And we smoked the whole thing. And you might be like,
Only a gram? I hit bigger rips on my apple bong.
but keep in mind, this was years ago, and I had only blazed up a couple times, and never really in no stressful situations like this. We get to the grain combine, and well, I'm gone. Like, hop on a plane to Area 51 and steal a spaceship type of gone. But my friend was an experienced smoker, so he was just like, hi I guess. I don't actually remember asking him how suited he felt. To be honest, I don't really remember too much from that night, except for how incredibly faded I was, and how goddamn certain I was of my death at one point. Speaking of certain death, after sizing up the combine, we start going up this rusty, constructed in 1756, refurbished in 1805 looking ladder, and I'm sweating bricks like I was a construction worker or something. But man, it ain't my fault, cause the higher we went, the windier it got, and at some point, the ladder started creaking like it was trying to get me to hop on the beat. Okay, I'm feeling it. Hey. Bro, what are you doing? Stop messing around and focus on climbing.
Yeah, okay, for sure.
In all seriousness though, I would love to say that, yeah, I'm a rebel. I'm like Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible. I'm like Jason Statham in every movie he's in, basically. But that would be lying. Cause at about 75% into the climb, I swear, I saw a freaking bolt drop from the top of the ladder. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Nah, I don't wanna die. Hey bro, where you going? I'ma go ahead and not fall to my death. I think that's pretty reasonable of me.
Fool, I'll do myself.
Okay, not really. He went on top of the thing and took some pictures and got down safely, but bruh, he just got lucky. His odds of survival were like 10% at best. Although after that day, Mance did get like 50% more girls, so I guess that guy was actually onto something. Anyway, once we were both down, I was like, bro, that was cool and all, but don't ever enchant me with those magic words, I got the gas. Again, I won't fall for it next time. And from that day on, I was responsible as eating vegan foods is for saving the environment. I learned nothing. I went on many more devious adventures with that guy, but that's for another video. We've all had a bad high before, and for some of us, we've had many. But what if I told you, you don't even know what that means? At least before you hear about the day I almost died while bugging off the Zaza. I woke up happier than usual because it was a special day. To be exact, it was my special day. My birthday. And I had planned a great celebration in my name. I was going to get wasted in my hometown with my old school friends. Because, well, I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I mean, I was turning 18, so you know your boy had to throw a killer party. Okay, to be honest, the party was pretty lame, cause my friends were either soy boys in a relationship or just plain gay, cause I told them multiple times, bring some hoes. The problem was, I had lost all my female connections in the area over the 2 years I was away, and they knew this. So how you gonna pull up to the party knowing your boy is back from the gulag and it's his birthday talking about,
Bro, where the hoes at? This party lame as hell.
bitch, I told you bring the hose, any hose, yet you come here with a 6-pack and a vape. What you talking about where the hose at? Look in the mirror, fool. You the hoe. You the hoe. Anyway, so we're just chilling at my lame party when my boy Ricky hits me up like,
Hey bro, I saw you in town again. Wanna smoke some gas?
And even though I do have an obligation to stay at my own birthday function, I decided to disband. Hey, everybody, thank you all for coming, but I'm gonna have to wrap this party up cause it's getting kinda late.
Bro, it's 11 p.m. Party's just starting. Let's drink some more beers, eh?
Yeah, it's only 11 p.m. Let's drink some more beers. Get the fuck out of my house, Charles. So I get these soy boys out my house. Like, sorry, but if you can't even muster one single female on a 2-week notice to come to a house party, are you really even a man? But yeah, so here I am, half drunk, walking to the European version of 7-Eleven when I get a text from my boy Ricky.
Hey man, you wanna come roll with us on this drop-off? We can blaze up in the car on the way there.
And I don't really want to get involved with any dealings of illegal substances, but like, I was pretty much at the 7-Eleven already and really wanted to get lit. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I get to the parking lot and I see the most rusty ricer stolen from the junkyard looking car, blasting gangster rap from the speakers like it was a 50 Cent concert. I jump in the car and see my boy Ricky, but also two of my friends from elementary school. They discussing this business whilst me and Ricky blazing in the back, when I notice the driver seems kind of off. So I asked Ricky, hey bro, is that man good? Seems a little off.
Yeah, no, he good. Just had a couple beers.
Bruh. So I just found out that the driver is a teensy bit drunk. But I'm already here and we're blazing, so what am I gonna do, leave? It was about 10 minutes of chatting and smoking when the time came to roll out. And bro, when I say this car was the biggest piece of shit that has ever grazed public roads, I'm not exaggerating. The freaking bottom of the car was vibrating and shaking so much, it felt like we was having an earthquake. And on top of it, the engine was making these clunking noises and the exhaust was spitting fumes like it was 1920. Even though I was high as a kite, it wasn't just the Zaza making me paranoid, because this guy was driving like he was on a NASCAR track. But the one thing he did constantly that got me praying to our Lord and Savior was taking every corner and curve on the opposite side of traffic. Even though we lived in a small town and it was midnight, if even just one car would have been on those dark and twisty roads that day, it would have meant certain death for all of us. You know those moments where you're like, oh Lord, please, I will never hang out with these thugs again and I will never smoke the good. Just save me from this death. That was me, but like times 10 at least. Anyway, what felt like an eternity of driving, we got to the drop-off, and it was just some more wannabe thug gangsters interacting with our group of wannabe thug gangsters. That interaction took about 10 minutes until we started driving back, and I was just praying the whole way to whoever would listen. Gandhi, Buddha, Michael Jackson, Pop Smoke, Jiraiya, anybody and everybody. Somehow we got back in one piece. Can't say the same words about the car though, cause when we pulled up to the 7-Eleven again and he turned it off, it made a weird noise, so he tried activating the shit box again and it wouldn't. So yeah, sucks for him I guess. So I say my goodbyes to the top thug gangsters of my hometown, and all I can think about is, bro, what the hell happened to my old homies? Everybody's either a soy boy or a drug dealer, no in between. Guess the moral of the story is, chase your dreams, I guess. Oh, and don't go into cars that look like they were last maintained in 1955, cause there's a good chance that this'll happen. Everybody's first time doing edibles is always the same. First you eat them, then you wait for like 25 minutes, then you confidently proclaim, "These edibles ain't shit." Bruh. And then for the next couple hours, you just drift away further and further into that. The government are reptiles, the ocean is fake, the earth is a cube, and I must slay the Ender Dragon tonight. In my case, my first edibles really weren't shit, cause we accidentally might have forgotten them in the oven and burnt that THC into CO2, but we didn't let that discourage us from trying again the next day. So me and my brother, still fueled by the disappointment of yesterday, wake up at 9 AM and start plotting our next move. We only have 1 gram left, so if this fails, we're pretty much screwed. One thing you might not know about making edibles is if you're throwing straight grass in the oven like we did, then be prepared for the whole house to smell like Snoop Dogg's living room. So we had to carefully time our cooking so that when our parents got home, the house wouldn't smell like the plug's car, if you know what I mean. And this time, we did everything right, and after an hour of feeling like the stoner versions of Gordon Ramsay, we held the finished product in our hands. But before we devoured the THC cookies, we decided to go to Grandma's place, because she lived in the countryside and it was a beautiful day, so we thought it would be nice and chill there. Also, Grandma always is strapped way up with the candy, the cakes, the chicken, the steak. She got all the munch a man could ask for. So we're driving 20 minutes away and decide to eat them Eddies, so that by the time we're there, it should start kicking. Yet, when we arrive, we still feel nothing. We say hi to Grandma and sit down in the living room. Bro, maybe we messed them up again. Nah, I don't think so. We did everything by the recipe this time. Yeah, let's wait a little more. It's been 40 minutes though. Should be feeling something at least. Yeah, I feel you. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go take a shit. So I hop in the bathroom to empty my system real quick, and I suddenly feel it. Then I hear some music coming from the living room and get intrigued. I finish my business with the toilet and go to the living room to find my brother jamming it out to some old ass radio playing some Elvis Presley or something. I wanna call him a dumbass, but I can't, cause my body starts moving by itself. This music is peak, there is nothing better. Until the next old song comes on, and it slaps harder than Chris Brown in 2009. I'm obviously talking about his music in 2009, not the incident with Rihanna. At some point, we had enough of the old-timey radio, so we turned it off and sat down on the couch to discuss our next move. So, how high are you? Yeah, I'm high. Yeah, me too. Real question is, do we take the second cookie? Now, we had baked 4 edibles total, so we had 2 left. We didn't plan on eating them that day though, because from what we had heard, edibles are supposed to hit their max in like 3 hours after consumption, so obviously I answered, I think we should, bro, for science. We took the second cookies out of their folium wrapping and ate them with some milk. Then we decided to go swimming, cause shit, why not I guess. As we're walking to the pond, I suddenly think to myself, am I cold? And then it hits. I start shivering and feeling like a warm pizza roll in the freezer. I'm not supposed to be here. I can't go on, I say. I'm too cold. My brother looks at me with disappointment in his eyes like, so that's all you can take. A tinsy-pincy little edible and you get scared of the cold, eh? Now, keep in mind, this was when I was 18 and I wasn't quite the 420 god I am today, so I had this thing where if I got really high and it wasn't walk around in your boxers type of warm, I'd start overthinking that I'm cold and then I'd actually start feeling cold. But I said to myself, no, I won't let these edibles control me. And I decided to push through the unwavering cold and fight my inner demons at the little pond over there. So we pull up to the pond and it's time to go swimming. And it wasn't that bad actually. The water was pretty warm and once I got used to it, I stopped shivering. So pretty much the edibles had cured my crippling fear of the cold. We start walking back to the house and so far I thought I was suited to the max. But then the second eddy kicks. And bro, this was the high I had read about but never believed in. It was psychedelic. My vision was crazy, like everything was 30 FPS and I could see an after image of my hand when I moved it. So at this point, there was no way I was doing anything else, so we went upstairs to our room and just started doing the randomest stuff, like inspecting objects, looking at the ceiling, munching. But the one thing I did that I don't recommend doing at this stage was looking in the damn mirror. It was crazy. I was not moving in sync with myself and I felt like the mirror version of me was from the other side, like Stranger Things or some shit. After like 30 minutes of doing things, we got really tired. Just standing up and functioning had become an immeasurably difficult task. So even though it was only 9 PM, we decided to call it a day. But I couldn't sleep. These 2 monster cookies got me overthinking everything. Laying on the bed, eyes wide open like, bro, what if that really was the Stranger Things version of me? What if he's waiting for me to fall asleep? I don't want to go to the shitty other side. I know any plugs there. Where am I gonna get my weed? And when I finally did try to close my eyes, I started tripping way out. Half asleep, half awake, seeing these vivid dreams. Thankfully, at some point I did fall asleep. And not just any sleep, I went into freaking hibernation, cause I was out cold for a calm 16 hours. So I'd say lesson of the story is, if it's your first time doing edibles, wait like at least 2 hours before you proclaim the classic, these edibles ain't shit.
High in the sky going 600 miles per hour. What can go wrong?
Hello, valued customers. Captain speaking. We'd like to apologize for the delay. We got word that one of our passengers is smuggling Schedule 1 narcotics on the plane, and we have informed the local authorities who should be escorting the man out right about now.
Alright then, scumbag. Empty your bag right now. I can smell the narcotics on you.
Officer, why? I don't have any narcotics on me. I just ate a legal hemp gun.
Oh shit, he's got a gun! That was a close one. But don't worry, folks. The situation has been handled. We'll get a crew to body bag this son of a bitch.
Oh, sure, you also dropped your bag of flour.
Anyway, carry on. Highway to the danger zone.
Well, turns out quite a few things, but over the clouds there lies a rainbow so beautiful it might just be worth it. Because as we all know, flying friggin' sucks, because unless you have an online university making you $1 million a day, you're gonna have to get used to paying Michelin star restaurant prices for tap water and the most disgusting food you'll ever taste in your life. And I promise you bro, I'm not over exaggerating. The last flight of our US trip from JFK to London, me and RizX decided to pop a New York Lego brick blue rats Eddie just before we got to the airport, so we were faded both at the airport and the first half of our flight. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. This was my first ever time flying high, and yes, this might be a shocker for some of you guys.
CBD bro, isn't smoking that Qui-Gon Jinn Vietnamese Phillips head runs 24/7? Unsubscribed!
And although that might be true, just know, this shit ain't nothing to me, man. I smoke real Amani Cuban rapscallion ghost nuggets. I'm him. I've been him. I will continue to be him. Just got my DNA test back. Turns out I'm 100% Himalayan. So basically, I never saw a need nor really had the opportunity to be faded on an airplane. Mostly because 90% of my flights have been 2 hours or shorter, and 2 hours of sitting on the Boeing GTS bucket seat ain't that bad. Well, if you're flying Frontier, it'll probably be like 5 hours because the fucking delay day. Anyway, as we woke up in the morning in Flushing, New York in a $250 per day shitbox of a hotel at the end of our trip, completely exhausted and a bit depressed from having to go back home from our grand US adventure, we looked at our only 25% consumed $30 bag of Eddies and thought, man, this is all really gonna go to waste. Unless we... I'm gonna stop you right now. We're not risking jail time for $15 worth of Eddies. Man, nah, you're right. But, what if we just ate it all before the flight? And after Googling and Redditing for 20 minutes, we were pretty confident that being high on an airplane isn't a big deal as long as you don't take any za with you. So we ordered our Uber to JFK and now we were on our way to the airport, discussing how much should we take. And although I at first thought of taking the whole bag was 500 mgs, so 250 per, which my tongues was at the point where 50 effed me up, so we decided on 100 to avoid. Would you like some snacks or any drinks, sir?
No, thank you.
Can I offer you any snacks or any drinks, sir?
I'll have M&M's.
We arrived at the airport and ate our Eddies just before going in. It took us about 10 minutes to get to the security line, which had us a bit paranoid because the line was pretty long, and for our calculations, the Eddies should be kicking in about 20 to 30 minutes. Thankfully, we were able to unload our bags before they hit, and RizX was the first one through with no problems. He got his bag and was waiting for me on the other side when...
You're good to go, sir. Enjoy your flight.
Next.
Are all your pockets empty, sir?
Yes,
Walk on through then, sir. Yeah.
The Eddies had shown themselves just before I went through the body scan, but thankfully I got through that just fine. The problem was, unlike RizX whose bags were cleared instantly, mine were not. They were sent to the manual inspection, which I knew for a fact I had nothing to hide, but because I was slowly but surely descending into madness, all I could think about while I was sitting there with the other people whose bag needed to be checked was, how long is this gonna take?
Shit, I hope I don't have anything.
No, I know I don't.
Do I?
Yes!
What?
I was bugging out. Not because I was smuggling anything, but because I was slowly but surely getting higher and higher, and was starting to question if I had accidentally left some weed in my bag, maybe, I don't know. Thankfully, after about 20 minutes, I got my bags, and we were able to leave security. Finally. And I thought that the hard part was over, but it was just beginning. Let me introduce you to the worst food place I have ever experienced in my 21 years of life on planet Earth. Let's call this establishment Trust Burger. Even though my expectations for airport food are extremely low, and I mean massively so, the experience there literally opened my eyes to how shit a food place can actually be. I arrived there 1 hour before boarding, and from the first glance, I knew what I was dealing with was truly a Michelin star worthy establishment. There were 4 workers there, each with a designated task, and each one of them was really pouring their heart into it. The first worker was at the counter, and she was really well trained because she was working there in a completely new way. Instead of taking orders and answering customer questions, she positioned herself near the back of the counter close to the kitchen, obviously to provide the best service possible somehow. Oh, but the kitchen workers were even more professional. They were so good at their jobs that although there was 4 of them, only 1 of them was working. And I'm assuming the others were there for quality control. Now, normal folks like myself and you would think that having a line of people waiting for their food with angry faces would make these guys rush. But no, what we were dealing with were truly smooth operators. Even in the face of controversy, with all eyes on these 5 workers, however much the customers tried to get it out of them, they refused to muster up even one singular thunk. And obviously, being that the person who was supposed to be taking orders was doing something else, mostly chit-chatting with other workers, everybody, including me, had to order from the self-service machine. And so I did. After ordering, I went to buy some Ruffles and M&Ms, and because I was bugging off the Cuban rapscallion ghost nuggets and had lost my sense of time, I went up to the counter to ask if my order was ready. Yeah, hello? Yeah, hello. Sorry, I'm just checking if my order is ready. I went away for a minute, so, just checking. I don't know.
Okay, well, do you know where I can find this out? It's only been 5 minutes, man. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
I walked away from there high as balls and shamed. Shamed for asking if my order was ready. Now, at this point, I was basically starving to death. But how these guys had treated me, I was really scared of them spitting or even worse, jizzing on my burger. But after 20 minutes, I did get my order. And if you thought the service was bad, the burger itself was even worse. The thing was cold and dry as fush. It was so bad I literally had to consume the thing like a competitive eater. Every bite had to be hydrated with a sip of water, so the Jizz burger would even slide down my throat. After eating it, I was also really paranoid of getting food poisoning. Not because the burger tasted bad, well it did, it tasted like dog shit, but it didn't taste like anything had gone bad in there. Just because I was obliterated, my brain was prepping for the worst case scenario. But now, it was time to find Jizz in your Rizx and go to our gate. And that took about 10 minutes, and after that we started walking there together when we heard the speakers call out, Mr. Bro and Mr. Riz, this is your last call for flight 69420. I repeat, Mr. Bro and Mr. Riz, this is your last call for flight 69420. Please come to gate 69 immediately. Thank you.
Run.
Thankfully, we got to our gate and made it on the plane. And turns out there was plenty of freaking time because we still sat and waited for 30 minutes before the plane took off. Which that might have also been the reason why the guys at the gate looked at us like a bunch of baboons. Looking back at it, it must have set off some alarms seeing 2 6'5" behemoths running at full speed holding their carry-ons on top their heads like they were running from a lion, but hey, at least we made it. But once the adrenaline wore off, I realized 100 mg was truly too much. I was fighting demons on that aerodynamic plane, and what made it worse was the flight attendants were all super posh and uptight. We were sat at the extra legroom middle aisle, and I swear it wasn't just a za. These motherfuckers were looking at us, judging our every move. Anyway, after sitting in silence and looking down at the floor for 30 minutes, we finally took off, and because it was an international flight, it was a massive plane. And as it was taking off, it made a lot of creaking and sketchy noises, which increased my tweak meter to almost maximum. I mean, it doesn't make sense physics-wise. How the fuck are those massive wings supported with just a connection to the body of the plane? Things were flopping like crazy, and however much I tried, I couldn't get the vision out of my mind that as soon as the pilot starts pulling up, one of those wings would detach and we would fly into the highway in front of the airport in a ball of fire causing the next 9/11.
But we survived. What a surprise. I guess it was just a week.
I did end up sleeping for 4 hours of our 10-hour flight, which was great. I'll leave it up to you though if you think it was worth it, as all the stress and anxiety did pay off very nicely as I watched Vikings and ate M&Ms for the rest of the flight with a smile on my face. We proceeded to touch down in London at 6 a.m. and slept for 4 hours at a McDonald's before catching our last flight home. The end. The first high, a core memory, and whether you enjoyed it or not doesn't really matter, because for 95% of people, their first time literally shapes their entire opinion on the grass. Almost everybody who isn't age 50 or over and says, "Weed is the work of the devil, and should be more illegal than even meth." Well, actually it is. The za is Schedule 1 and meth is Schedule 2, so...
Yeah, that's right. That's why I love America. Greatest damn country in the world.
USA! USA! USA!
Anyway, what I was saying was that most people who tweak their first time are put off by it for a while and shape into za haters, and people who have fun their first time, believe it or not, don't all become mindless junkies who eat Little Caesars and watch SpongeBob all day. Rather, when asked their opinion on weed, they'll probably just say,
My stomach turned into an endless void with an unquenchable hunger for anything edible, which was followed by a sleepiness so uncontrollable I passed out halfway into my 25th Twinkie. It was pretty fun.
So obviously me, CBD bro, who runs an entire YouTube channel dedicated to the green plant, must have had the latter experience, right? Well, not really. As you see, when I was but a wee lad, uncontaminated by the forbidden fruits of the world like alcohol, nicotine, and yes, weed, always believed that alcohol makes you homeless, nicotine makes you a little bitch, and weed makes you lazy. Thinking that, I didn't want to waste not just my first high, but my very first time feeling anything besides normal on eating Doritos and watching Family Guy. Which, after turning 17, I decided it was about time I lost my substance virginity and planned to do so on Christmas dinner, where I was gonna let El Marijuana put its big, fat, thick, juicy, delicately rolled J in my mouth, but only after I had eaten, as I believed if my tummy was full, I wouldn't get the munchies and could instead contemplate the meaning of life my time high. And thankfully, I had an older brother who was more than willing to give me a puff or two from his Christmas dinner J for $4, the fucking cheapskate. So we went upstairs and started puffing, which Rezex was instantly bamboozled from the magic grass. Nice, it's not a dud. Now it's my turn. I grabbed the J and puffed until I could puff no more. And the result was, I didn't feel a damn thing. Still had to pay the $4 though. Fucking bullshit. Anyway, as we went through the day, I got increasingly more jealous of my brother, who by his words was fried AF. I was beginning to think maybe I'm immune to getting high, which after telling my brother this theory, he concluded that I'm stupid and just didn't inhale the za in my lungs, and so generously told me to follow him upstairs, where he gave me a couple more puffs for an extra $4, the damn venture capitalist. As I was smoking away, keeping in mind to inhale it all the way down to my lungs, I still wasn't feeling anything, and my hopes of getting fried AF were beginning to look more like a distant dream. When I finished puffing, I sat down at the computer to look at some of those watch while high videos, and my brother asked me, So, you feel anything now? No, I don't. What's this weird I'm not sure. I don't know, seems to me you're fried like some Kentucky chicken, boy. I was indeed fried, and incredibly so. Although I didn't smoke a ton, my body had never experienced anything besides a sugar rush and maybe a caffeine kick. So as I was watching this watch while you're high video, I was laughing at everything and was tripping the fuck out. But not in a bad way, it was freaking amazing. Being high was what I always imagined it to be until... bloop. I'm sober again. Yeah, you heard right. My first high lasted like 30 seconds, and in an instant, I was back to normal, which I don't know why. Even to this day, when I tell people about this, nobody can relate because no one has experienced this phenomenon. But since I'm a scientist, I have developed a super duper concrete theory backed by quantum mechanics and the late great Stephen Hawking on my experience, and overall the reason why a lot of people who smoke their first time don't feel anything. I theorize that all humans have a natural block against foreign substances, a wall per se, and when an individual inhales za, the particles act kind of like micromissiles targeting your cannabinoid receptors. For the people whose defensive wall is strong enough, it will stop all perpetrators attempting to infiltrate your brain. But this wall isn't regeneratable, so if the micromissiles fail to get you fried at first, the next time they'll have an easier time against your already damaged wall of defense. Now, I bet you're thinking to yourself, this mofo been smoking too much of that Einstein pack. And to you, I say maybe, but also I have practical proof of this theory. I used to be a pro baller, and one day me and a couple hooper friends who all have great immune systems and therefore probably good za defensive walls decided to smoke up, and to my buddies, it was their first time. Once we lit the J and passed it around, I made sure to tell everybody to inhale the smoke in their lungs, which I'm pretty sure they all did, but still, I was the only one who got high, cause it wasn't my first time. But when I smoked up with some of my non-athlete first-timer friends, they all got high like normal. So, conclusion, defensive saw wall is a real thing and I stand by my theory. Anyway, although that was my first time feeling high, I wouldn't call it my first high because it only lasted for half a minute. My first real high experience was something even more memorable and etched to my brain until I die. A couple weeks after the last incident, me and Riz X decided it was about damn time I actually felt the true loving touch of the Mary Jane. And this time, instead of having only scraps of za, we bought a whole gram to hopefully destroy my highly speculative za wall. I think it's real. Also, at this time, we were obsessed with freestyle rapping, so we decided the plan of action was to smoke up, eat candy, and rap battle to copyright-free beats while recording it so we could listen to our unreleased tracks in the morning. Since our parents were away for the night, we got the whole apartment to ourselves and planned on rolling 2 J's, both containing 0.5 G's. Since we were petrified at the thought of getting caught blazing, instead of being sensible and smoking the J's near a window and just blowing the smoke out, we put our jackets on and walked 500 feet away from the apartment to light up, just to be sure that there wouldn't even be a microfiber of evidence that we were smoking the devil's lettuce. As we were consuming the J, all I could hope for was that this time I wouldn't just get a limited free trial, but the actual full version. But alas, when we finished puffing the J, I again felt nothing, or at least that's what I thought, cause as we arrived back home, I finally realized that,
So, you feeling it? Yeah, kinda.
sometimes the high hits you a couple minutes later, especially if you're going from outdoors to indoors as we did. And my highly accepted theory in the science community about this phenomenon is that through evolution, we have always considered indoors to be our safe zone and outdoors dangerous. Therefore, when you're outside, your brain doesn't allow the full faded and relaxed effect to take over, probably in anticipation of a roadman coming and chefing you up with the mandem. Okay, this one I'm not so confident in, and I have to come clean. I am in no shape or form associated with the science community. Yet. Anyway, now that we were high and in the living room, we started putting on some beats and freestyling, and to this day, I have yet to replicate the skill and precision of my flow that high. It's hard to explain, but nowadays, I can't rap for shit. I mean, I'll spit one line and be like, yo, I've been getting money making racks, cause you know I'm flipping packs. That's facts. Yeah, that's it. Basically, I run out of rhymes pretty fast, but that day, I did not. In fact, even when my brain had nothing to say, my mouth rapped it for me. I turned into a freestyling robot and became dead sure that I was gonna make it out by dropping a mixtape and becoming a famous rapper. Until we listened to the recording in the morning and realized, yo, flowing on the go, your girl she a hoe, making money dancing with a pole, my girl making dough while doing lines of blow, cause we in the penthouse baby, living life, and that's for show.
Yeah, I'll try YouTube instead.
What's crazy though is that after that, I was never able to replicate the auto-rapping again, so my rap career never flowered, but who knows, maybe I'll try to convert this channel into lyric videos and shitposting, all while steadily alienating my audience and killing my channel. Or maybe I should just make a separate channel for that? Nah, that's dumb. Anyway, that was my first high, but comment down how yours went.
You know, back in the day, if you wanted to get high discreetly, sorry bro, there was no way. I mean, you got the J, which stanks up everything. You got the bong, which although doesn't stank as much, where are you gonna hide it? Imagine trying to sneak by your parents on some...
What you doing dropping shit at a time like this, boy? Downstairs, I came down, I wanted a glass of water, yeah.
Boy, you must be neurologically disabled if you think that'll excuse you from breaking some dusty-ass dollar store piece and spilling bong water all over my goddamn living room. No, it's...
Here, take a smack of this shit. It'll get you proper, boy.
Well, that sounds like a pretty fun... Anyway, point is, you're not gonna be hiding that shit for long. Only real option you had was the pipe. But bro, at that point, you sacrificing everything you got for one high. Like, I swear, the pipe is the last way anybody in their right mind wants to get faded. Every time I hit it, it's like my lungs and throat revert back to factory sense. Like I ain't never inhaled anything besides O2 before. Basically, by smacking the pipe, you're hurting your lungs and throat to the point it kind of fucks up the first 30 minutes of your high. And that's exactly why when the first penjamin was invented by the scientists at Yodiland, It changed the game, bruh. Never before could you get obliterated on the go regardless of where you were or what you were doing. And thanks to that, getting high has become so damn easy, you got motherfuckers making obliteration their normal state. Never before could someone do anything even remotely sus and you could just assume they were fucking high. My man had sunglasses on for no reason, faded. Dude was staring somewhere for a bit too long, obliterated. Dude went to White Castle for a culinary experience. Well, that motherfucker's just weird. Goddamn cafeteria food. And you can forget about gas stations and fast food places. I mean, at this point, it's like damn near mandatory to be blasted on the job. And I got nothing against that, just since 90% of the time I find myself at 7-Eleven, I'm fried too, and the motherfucker that's supposed to be helping me is trying to scan my items with his damn iPhone. Nah, but for real, the pace that these fried motherfuckers work at is fine when your brain is running at the same low frequency, but if you're in a rush, it'll take damn near every ounce of mental strength you got to stop yourself from forcing a damn self-checkout.
Would you like a bag with that, sir?
Fuck no, here's the money, just give me my shit. But don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old penjamin. There really ain't a better on-the-go, fast and easy way to get faded. Unfortunately, I didn't go to college and kinda cheated my way through high school too, so the 15 or so brain cells I was able to develop that keep me from losing and forgetting shit turned into, well, basically zero. And for that reason, I've already lost 2 of them. One of them slipped out my pocket while I was at the movies, and I'm pretty sure some teenagers stole it, cause after the film, when I was looking for it with my flashlight and shit, these motherfuckers were giggling in the back, looking at me like I was a damn circus clown. Coupled with the fact I was fried as fuck, I was fighting my tears. Dog. I just got robbed by some damn teens and I can't even do shit cause it was illegal to even bring it in there. Second one I lost in a very similar manner. As I was getting out my Uber going back home, my sweatpants did me dirty and flinged that fucker out as I was standing up. Took me 2 minutes to realize, and when I did, my Uber driver was probably already hitting that shit cause when I called him back to ask for it, he said,
Let me check. It seems that you only left me a $1 tip. Sorry, I couldn't find it.
And that one hurt the most because that was the first pen I ever had and the one I used for my first penjamin adventure, which my first time was, well, by far the highest I have ever been in my life. I'm talking freaky, I'm talking third person. Shit, it was the first time in years I truly greened the thaw out. For you see, normal weed or bud is just that, normal. So the strength of it is confined in the realms of reality, unless you know it, it's moon rock. Anyway, the biggest difference between smacking a pen versus, let's say, a J is that the pen doesn't have normal bud in it. It has concentrate, which if you're unaware like I was, is about 10 to 20 times stronger than bud. Knowing that, the best way to get faded off the pen is by just taking small rips to avoid getting sent into the goddamn shadow realm. For example, the YouTuber DamianLuck925 is very well known for taking multiple blinkers, which is the biggest hit you can take, outside in social situations, most notably in random classrooms, like it's nothing. So me being at my USA Airbnb alone in the confines of my living room, thought to myself, okay, so it looks like the basic hit I should do at least is 1 blinker, but probably more. Yet what was waiting for me on the other side of Blinker City was something I was not prepared for. Something unholy. The voices. I'll never forget the horrible things they were whispering. They made me almost delete my YouTube channel. Anyway, it started with me ordering a 1-gram pen off of Weed Amazon, and it arrived the very next day in a beat-up Cadillac with a delivery man who, from the looks of it, tests out every product he delivers just, you know, to make sure the quality is there. Yo, bro, you're here for the weed, right? You got the cash? Yeah, I ordered through your website, though. It should be paid for already. Yeah, I forgot I'd take online orders now, too. Anyway, here's the stuff, bro. I trust you. Hey, thanks, bro. Have a good one. You too, man.
Hello, Mr. Bro. We got a delivery for you from Weed Amazon that should be arriving in an hour or so. Will you be home then?
Wait, didn't I just...
I'm a gorilla in a fucking scoop. Gonna pull up in the zoo.
Oh, I better get out of here.
So I went back to the crib, penjamin in hand, and prepared myself to get faded. And obviously, I went for a blinker, my very first hit. But since I had never smacked a pen before, I inhaled it for about 4 seconds and stopped because it was so light on my throat, I thought it wasn't working, but it actually was. And from that 4-second puff, I was already quite bamboozled. But since I have this weird rule of every time I get new stuff, I break it in by doing a massive hit, I thought, well, fuck.
I was supposed to do a blinker. And went for it again. I inhaled and inhaled for a good 8 to 10 seconds, but the thing just wouldn't fucking blink. It got to the point where there was tears coming from my eyes and my throat was begging me to stop, and it ended up like... I had made a grave mistake. I was so fucking high, I felt my soul leave my body. I was so high, I forgot I was even high. But it was just the beginning, cause over the next 10 minutes, I just kept on getting more faded, and the demons in my head kept on getting louder and louder. But if you know me, I kinda refused to green out, so I just kept on doing random shit like reading the ingredients list off my bag of M&Ms, reading the comments on my videos.
Change that mark below. Do things has changed career. Imagine copying another YouTuber.
Kill yourself. Was not doing good. I was keeping a strong facade, but inside there was a war going on. I was feeling like Naruto with the 9 tails, only instead of an all-powerful destructive force talking to me, I was just really fucking high. Anyway, so yeah, I was grading out, which hadn't happened to me in years, and I concluded that because the voice of reason was completely being outspoken by the voice of tweaking. The good news is though, the hype from the penjamin doesn't last too long, and in about 1 to 2 hours, I had started coming down, but at that point, I was already crawled up in my bed, scrolling endlessly on my phone, until I finally reached a state where I felt good enough to come out of emergency mode and order some food and ate myself into a food coma. So I learned, well, firstly, that motherfucker Fulcrum is actually insane, or his tolerance is just something else, bro, and that the penjamin is best enjoyed in puffs of 3 to 5 seconds and not blinkers. And if you want to see what really happened that day, click the video on the screen for the IRL version, and also make sure to join our Discord and come play with me on our Minecraft server where we are going for the world record attempt at most fried gaming session. Hope to see you there. Substance addiction is a very scary thing. Well, it depends. A dude who's addicted to ashwagandha ain't gonna be on the same level of desperation as a motherfucking crackhead, but nevertheless, both them dudes still addicted. Only difference is one is willing to lie, rob, manipulate, and destroy all his relationships just to get one more smack of that sweet, sweet crack. Anyway, since this seems to be a trendy topic right now, we are going to be ranking every substance from S to F based on many factors like addictiveness, how hard it is to quit, how much it affects your life negatively, etc. With F being the hardest to quit and most harmful for you, and S being just a mild addiction. And all of this will of course be presented to you in a family-friendly, comedic, entertaining, and scientific way. So YouTube, please, I'm just a funny stick man. So let's start it off with what your boy might be addicted to just a teeny tiny bit, and that's of course weed. Some people might say you can't get addicted to weed, and to those I say, bro, you dumb as shit. Okay, not to be mean, but that statement is just false, because as humans, we can get addicted to anything and everything. Even shit like a cool breeze on a hot summer's day could get you addicted, because that shit feels nice, bro. What I'm trying to say is that even though getting physically addicted to the Zaza is quite hard, getting mentally addicted is easier than watching a 10-minute YouTube video. Well, if you're Gen Alpha, this doesn't apply to you with your skibbity toilets and stuff, but you get what I mean. It's all about habit and relieving stress, and even if you smoke up once a day at the end of your day when you got all your shit done and it's time to relax, you still mentally addicted by equating relaxation with smoking the Lord's loud. But overall, if I'm being a $125.5 with you, this isn't too bad, cause when you're at this level, you won't start tweaking if you don't have any weed. You just prefer it if you did. But if you do smoke up 24/7, it's a bit different, cause your body will start relying on the za to get you through your day. Although honestly, it's kinda hard to get to that point, cause if you're anything like me, after a day or two of smoking weed and doing nothing productive, your mind will tell you, oh boy, time to get faded and play V-Rising all day again. Bro, what the fuck is you doing? You really finna wake and bake again? You're broke, and you look like a damn bum. Man, I swear, you wake and bake today too, and I'ma start giving you mad anxiety, bruh. Oh, okay, fine. I'll be a functioning human today. Total buzzkill. So all in all, weed gets a B rating because of its mostly non-addictive nature and relative ease in which it is to quit for most people. Very much unlike fentanyl. Not much to say here. Smoke once, you dead, bro. Don't have to worry about quitting cause, well, you dead. Oh, but if you do survive, your brain has now been chemically altered forever, so now all you want is the stuff. So if not instantly, you dead in a week or two tops. Although I think some people have managed to quit, they'll probably just never be the same again. So complete F tier. Nah, actually fucking Z tier. Don't even think about it, bro. Crack. Now, before I researched into fentanyl, I thought this was like the pinnacle of addiction. I guess not, cause I saw this clip of some dude talking about how veteran crackheads who have been alive for decades and still smoking that shit be dead instantly after taking a sniff of fentanyl. But even so, crack is F tier, cause just like fentanyl, it alters the chemistry of your brain, and now the pursuit of happiness turns into the pursuit of crack. Again, don't even think about it, bruh. Now let's tune back from the hardcore stuff in hopes that this video is still staying monetized, which seems more like a fantasy right now, but anyway. Caffeine, the wonder drug, a widely accepted and extensively researched substance that works by stimulating your body and increasing the activity in your brain and nervous system. Just drink too much of it and it'll have the exact opposite effect, leaving you super anxious and unable to work properly. Also, it is somewhat addictive, although quite controllable, but if you do drink the same amount of coffee or shotgun a Red Bull every day, pretty soon you'll discover that the Red Bull isn't really getting you going anymore. So now you need another, so you either get another or you realize that this is a slippery slope and not drink that Red Bull for a day or two and your tolerance goes back to normal. I found the best way to manage your caffeine addiction is to only consume it when you feel like you're gonna need it for the day. What I mean by that is if you, let's say, work from Monday to Friday, then drink a coffee or two those days, but refrain from consuming caffeine on the weekends. That should give your mind and body enough time to reset your dependency without it even being that hard. There's also a bunch of research showing that 1 or 2 cups of coffee are actually good for you and can lower the likelihood of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, liver and endometrial cancers, Parkinson's disease, and depression. So, yeah, bro, I mean, with the other shit on this list, I think it would be silly for me not to throw it at S tier. But do keep in mind, moderation is always key to what you consume, how you plan your time, how you live your life, everything, bruh. But coffee, S tier, moving. Nicotine. Nicotine is like caffeine's evil brother, cause just like caffeine, nicotine can increase your focus and help you get through your day. Only problem is, unlike caffeine, which I'd say for most people can be a controlled addiction, vaping usually isn't. In fact, a big portion of people who consume this stuff do it to the point of it having the exact opposite effect, making you dizzy and less energized. And just like caffeine, you build up a tolerance pretty fast, making your sin bombs less bomby with each stuffing. The worst part of Nick, though, is always gonna be the fact that most dudes are inhaling aerosol in their lungs to get it in their system, which from that you will experience gross side effects pretty fast, like phlegm in your throat 24/7, loss of lung capacity, and pretty soon anxiety when you can't suck on your vape for a prolonged period of time. But the actual worst part about vaping is that it's fucking lame as shit. And even though in high school it might have made you cool, in the real world being addicted to flavored cancer-infused mists really shows a lot about your character.
Character? What does that even mean?
It means that if you're like really addicted to the point of vaping every day all the time with no plans on quitting, it indicates that you're a mentally weak person, because at that point you sound like a ghoul from Fallout, run out of breath from walking up a flight of stairs, and you're constantly spitting shit from your mouth, aka you've turned into a gremlin, aka you're gonna be treated like a gremlin by people who aren't gremlins. If this is only something I've noticed, then so be it, but if I'm gonna keep it a $1.50 with you, every single person I know who is heavily addicted to nicotine is not a very productive / successful person. But hey, that might just be me and my personal experience. So make sure to comment down below if you've noticed something similar or I'm just talking out my ass. We're gonna throw nicotine at E tier just cause, well, crack is on F tier and, well, it's not that bad. Now though, moving on to a more psychedelic world. Mushrooms. I'm not talking about culinary mushrooms or even the ones Mario uses to grow bigger. I'm talking about the mushroom Luigi collects and saves at the beginning levels for when after the game is over to get on Rainbow Road, if you know what I'm saying. Psychedelics overall are not super addictive though, cause if you've ever been on a trip from these things, you know that shit is exhausting as shit. I mean, for real, after my heroic journey, I felt like my brain had gone through a month's worth of thoughts in one 5-hour session, leaving me completely mentally drained. But that doesn't mean mushrooms aren't addictive at all, because although not physically addictive, just like weed, mushrooms can be mentally addictive, cause when you're tripping, you feel like you're in this secret dimension of being, which gives you a sense of belonging and makes you feel special. And that feeling can be addictive, especially if you're not very happy with your current situation in your normal life. They can be used as an escape, kinda like Alice in Wonderland, but unlike more natural escapes like TV shows shows, video games, and movies, mushrooms leave your brain drained and confused. That's also the reason why if you go to a smart shop in Amsterdam, they always tell you to take at least a 4 to 5 day break in between mushroom trips. Firstly, because of the aforementioned mentally draining effect they have, but also because your body builds up a tolerance extremely fast to psilocybin, the chemical found in magic mushrooms. And if you bang multiple trips in a row, the effect will be much lighter, but also because of that, it'll feel less draining and therefore make it possible to take this stuff daily. And if you do, you can get a bit disassociated from your normal existence and therefore build up a bit of an addiction to mushroom land. All that being said, magic mushrooms are one of the only substances on this list that have been proven to have therapeutic uses, like for example fighting your other addictions. I know from my personal experience when I banked a heroic dose, it made me think a lot about how much I consume things like weed and nicotine, and from that I was able to cut both those things down a bit, especially the nicotine. I also know of people microdosing this stuff and having positive effects, but me personally, I don't really believe that, because if you're taking them every day, you'll eventually start relying on them, and that kind of defeats the whole point of tripping once and carrying what you learn into your normal life, I think. Anyway, all in all, mushrooms gotta be B tier, because when you do get addicted to them, it can drastically mess up your life. It's just kinda hard to get to that point. Types of plugs you will encounter. This topic is very near and dear to my heart, because unfortunately to this day, I still have to rely on these guys for my Zaza. So you can imagine after years of experience of buying from tens of different plugs, I'm quite certain I have dealt with every kind there is, from the most vicious acting as gangsta as humanly possible thugs, to the high school dudes who just want to fund their Zaza addiction by selling it. And I think it's appropriate to start off with the type of plug I bought from my very first time. And he was the friend who knows a guy who knows a guy who has that exotic. This one isn't really officially a plug per se, but then again, I'm willing to bet this was how most people first encountered any type of Zaza seller. Every time when you and your friends discussed the grass and wanting to try it, he always said something like, "Yeah man, if you really want some, I got a few connects and they always sell that exotic." But in reality, dude's connects were usually his older brother or friend who actually knew someone. So for me, the times I did acquire the grass through this man, that shit was always some Reggie for real. And not just that, it always had a massive markup, cause who else can you sell oregano mixed mid za for premium price than a bunch of stupid youngsters? But I can't fault the homie too much, cause back then, man, I swear, you could smell some grass and get faded, so everything seemed exotic, even if it was mostly herbs and spices bought at the discount aisle at Walmart. But even so, I ain't mad, cause that's the nature of business, I guess. If a dude is willing to buy your oregano pack for $30, then so be it. You gotta learn from it and move on. And so I did, and found myself a new plug, who was yeah bro, that's an eighth. It's just like super compact. You know, like a diamond. The dude who always shorts you. A plug like this never has any longevity, cause I mean, after being shorted 1 or 2 times max, however much you crave the za, usually your self-respect won't allow you to go back to mans like. So, you got the eighth? Yeah, of course dog, I'ma hook you up nicely this time. This some good shit. Nice. Show me the bag real quick though. Gotcha big dog. Here it is. Where is it? Oh, wait, hold up, my bad. You need this to see it. Okay. Do you see it now? It's like super compact, you know, like a diamond. Yeah, like a diamond, right? Yeah, okay, but I'm gonna have to skip this one. I don't really even want any za right now. Alright, bro, you're a loss. Get the fuck out of my car.
You don't want no smoke, don't want no jazz.
These the plugs who exclusively sell to stupid kids, cause anybody with any understanding of how 1 gram of za should look like would just tell him to F off and remove him on Snapchat. But this guy also abuses his status of the plug to provoke fear into dudes who don't yet know any better and think these guys are all freaking mafia level gangsters who, if you disagree with them, finna pull a Scarface and take out a M249 and start going bananas. But don't feel too bad if you've fallen for this scam before, cause I have too. In fact, I had a friend who was supposed to get 1 gram, but the plug gave him 0.1, and my man still bought it. Mostly cause he didn't even know how much a gram is supposed to look like, so he just trusted him. And unfortunately, 0.1 grams of grass won't really get you faded. Up on the list is the complete opposite, and one of my favorites, and he is the always faded plug. This guy could also be called the plug who only sells to fund his copious amount of Zaza consuming on a daily basis. And why he is one of my favorites is for multiple reasons. Firstly, because he is the king of getting high off his own supply, he always has a comment on the stuff you're getting. Secondly, because mans is faded 24/7, he don't really want any confrontation, so he'll probably never short you. In fact, sometimes out of the warmth of his heart, he'll throw some extra in there, depending if he likes you as a customer or not. And lastly, because he has evolved to a point where being high is his normal state, which don't ever get that far. It's not good for your health, and it can and will ruin your life no matter how much you hear Zaza isn't addictive. It can be if you take it too far. But anyway, because of the fact he cannot live without the magic ring plant in his system, in my experience, he has always had a 100% success rate to the text, "Hey yo, you got any?" That meaning, mans is more reliable than a Volvo, mans is more dependable than James Bond, mans is more loyal than a golden retriever, goddamn! The only problem for you, the customer, is he is usually pretty on and off on the plug-in business, because if you can get that addicted to za, it's usually a personality trait, so knowing that, this guy either smokes every day 24/7, or he is completely grass-free. And when he is grass-free, he disappears like the Avatar. So yeah. But now on to the next plug on the list, and he is the plug who should have probably started an actual business instead. This plug is quite rare, and I've only ever met one of these mofos, but oh boy, what a roller coaster ride it was. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was looking for some grass, so I hit up my usual plug, only for him to inform me he is, quote, out of the game, but will give me the Snapchat of a guy who is, quote, new to the game. And so he did. And after writing mans asking for some grass, he told me to meet up near a construction store. And since this was a while ago, I ain't have my license yet, so I ran me an e-scooter and rolled up. And the person who greeted me was none other than Mr. Invisible. Yeah, no, that was like his actual Snapchat username. Anyway, it was the short guy who kinda looked like a goblin, but he seemed quite serious and was the first plug ever to write me afterwards asking, how was the stuff? And after replying, he also gave me a freaking affiliate program. Not for real. He told me every friend I link him up with, he will give me 20 bucks if they ever buy from him. I ended up not doing that cause it kinda seemed ridiculous. Like, bro, you sell grass, not fucking VPN subscriptions. But over the next 6 months, I would see this man build a Snapchat grass cartel. Dudes was posting stories every day of his illegal activities like he had the cops under his payroll or something. And funniest part was, over the 6 months that I acquired the grass from him, I saw how his $10 camo pants and $15 Shane jacket turned into Gucci pants and an Armani jacket. Like, goddamn! Bro was really trying to be the local Scarface, and dudes even had mofos working for him. Like, sometimes I'd write him and he'd literally reply, come here, I'll get an employee to bring it to you. Employee? Bro was acting like he Mr. Krabs, sending SpongeBob to secure the secret formula. But unfortunately, his plugging career ended in about 6 months, where he sent us off with a heartwarming goodbye on his Snapchat story reading, greetings, my beloved customers. I am informing you all that I will unfortunately no longer be your plug, as I am moving on. It was great while it lasted, and I wish you all the best. As for the Zaza, I mentioned 3 people in this story who will fill my shoes in this field. Stay cool. Peace out. And the craziest part is, I'm not making any of this up. This dude was a legit comedy movie character, and his personality reflected it. He was like the generic Slav trapper guy who tried his hardest to act as gangsta as humanly possible, and every sentence man said had to have at least 2 curse words. So yeah, although he is the most memorable plug I've ever had, he definitely wasn't my favorite. That spot has to go to the friendly neighborhood plug. The best plug a man can ask for. This would be the dude that lives close to your neighborhood, so you don't have to travel around the whole of Skyrim just to get some za. But if that wasn't enough, this the plug that also, as the name suggests, is friendly and doesn't act all gangsta, nor shorts you for no reason, nor is high 24/7. He's just a chill, reliable guy. And sometimes he'll even come to you, cause you live in the same neighborhood and he enjoys riding his bike while flipping packs and making racks. And unfortunately, however much this dude is just a normal human being, in the field of plugs, well, he's like a diamond. Very rare. So if you got yourself a plug like this, be thankful for your blessings, cause your next one is probably gonna be the usual local wannabe Pablo Escobar. But hey, plugs usually switch like every 4 months anyway, so don't be discouraged when yours is, well, weird. 10,000 BC, a group of cavemen in the Oki Islands of Japan needed some warmth and wanted to start a fire when they discovered a funny looking green plant, and either out of curiosity or desperation took it and inadvertently created history's first ever hotbox. Yet this early grass was not that loud that people be smoking today, because as we know, over the years the za has been scientifically and artificially cultivated to be much more concentrated in the high it gives. So although it is funny to think about a group of cavemen purposely starting a fire in a small shelter for the sole purpose of getting faded in a hoe, it is unlikely that it actually ever happened. Yet aside from this iffy recreational stint in Japan, hemp was first commonly used in the lands that are modern day Mongolia and China for more practical uses like eating it. Which, after saying that, you might be imagining something like this. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Had any fun with those new seeds I gave you?
Yo, nah, I actually came here to give them back. Last night I was looking at the moon and I swear that motherfucker was looking right back at me.
But alas, this probably wasn't the reality because the THC levels in this early cultivated zaza were just really low, but soon the Chinese would discover that the holy plant's fibers were also great for making stuff too, like clothes, paper, and bowstrings. Which turns out hemp fibers were superior to the bamboo ones used by rivaling factions, allowing the Chinese to shoot their arrows much further. So basically, back in the day, if you were having a long distance bow battle and were losing, you might have screamed out, "We need to get closer! These motherfuckers have weed!" Anyway, it wasn't long after when mofos realized that the loud wasn't only good for making stuff, it was also great for treating physical maladies. And after a couple thousand years, Emperor Shen Nung, known as the father of Chinese medicine, included the magic plant in his medical encyclopedia under the name Ma. Which, that sounds oddly similar to za, doesn't it? I'm guessing every couple thousand years the first letter changes or something. But now, let's explore the question we're all asking. When exactly did mofos start ripping that shit to get faded? Well, one of the earliest counts is about 2,500 years ago, when researchers discovered 10 mini barbecues in a cemetery near modern-day Tajikistan that had residue of burnt cannabis with a much higher concentration of THC than normal, probably meaning it was selectively bred to get you, well, lit. Although this was one of the first counts of people purposely inhaling the broccoli to get high, it was most likely used as part of a ritual to invoke an altered state of mind so you could communicate with spirits. Which shit, dog, I wanna know what these dudes were smoking, cause I ain't never heard of no grass that gets you to the spirit realm. This might have low-key been the last kush Snoop Dogg smoked, cause once you get so high you start communicating with your dead gran-gran, that's when you really might be like, okay, I think it's about time I stop smoking this shit. Since cannabis, for one reason or another, proved to be quite the useful plant, people started trading it around the world as soon as it was domesticated. Which the only people who didn't really fuck with the zaza were Europeans, who preferred getting hammered instead. Which is low-key reflected in modern times too, especially in the northern countries where once you turn 18, you can drink as much poison as you want, but if you want to blaze, well, you might be looking at a little bit of jail time, my boy. But now, let's quickly go over the uses of cannabis throughout different cultures so we can move on to the modern age, starting with Hindus. They made something called bang, an edible cannabis paste that had medicinal properties but also got you high. This could be added to a variety of foods and drinks, which this bang was the preferred food of the Hindu god Shiva, making him in my eyes the god of edibles.
Disclaimer, that was a joke.
Islam. Here the za was called hashish and was introduced about 1,000 years ago, which hashish wasn't strictly forbidden in the Quran at first, so a lot of Muslims ate it for its medicinal and relaxation properties. But later, Egypt basically banned it, and also the Quran was revisited by many and reinterpreted to include hashish to be banned just like alcohol. The Vikings. These dudes basically used the za to make rope, sailcloth, and other things, but also for its medicinal properties, mostly to relieve pain, and to date there's no hard evidence that they consumed it for its recreational use, but you know, maybe they should have, because they were quite the horrendous savages and murderers, so it might have made them think a little bit about peace and love. But what about America, England, and the actual global world powers? How did they react to weed? Well, again, like the Chinese, Europeans and Americans at first prominently used the magic green plant in the 16th to 18th century for more practical things like making sailcloth and rope. which the plant itself grew much larger in the New World soil, and combined with the practicality of it, everything started being hemp-derived. Clothes, paper, well, basically anything that required fibers. But the question still remains, when did mofos start smoking that shit to get blasted on the regular? Cause although at some point you, your neighbor, your grandma, your boss, and even George Washington were out here growing weed, wasn't nobody out here rolling them up. Well, until the arrival of Mexicans. The loud version of hemp first arrived in Brazil in the early 1500s by way of enslaved Africans traveling with the Portuguese. And the native South Americans, who are already consuming some other psychoactive substances, quickly started blazing the Zaza too, and its use soon spread across South America and into Mexico, from which in the 1910s is when the loud first spread into the US via Mexican immigrants escaping the effects of the Mexican Revolution. And almost immediately the good was viewed as a threat, and by 1931, 29 states had banned its use. Although it wasn't really the Zaza that the US didn't fall with, it was unfortunately mostly just racism against Mexican Americans and black citizens of the South, which both these groups were enjoyers of the Zaza to some regard, so it became a scapegoat for racial bias in the US, and they blamed it for everything from petty crimes all the way to murder. And in 1937, the US completely banned all non-medical use of weed, which all of this kind of explains why the mostly peaceful plant has been thrown in the same Schedule 1 category with full-on life-destroying substances like heroin and cocaine. But thankfully, a couple decades later came the hippie movement of the 1960s to 1970s. This is what lightly sparked the comeback for weed, cause unlike before, when the Zaza was mostly smoked by Mexican immigrants and black citizens who the US was massively racist against, the hippie movement had middle-class white American youths start blazing too. Which it was all about love, peace, spirituality, non-violence, and of course, every hippie's favorite, recreational drug use. Although most hippies were all about peace and love, that was quite easy to say when most of them were literally privileged enough to drop out of college, run off with Cassandra in a rainbow van, go on copious amounts of mindset-altering trips, mostly powered by LSD, and then return 10 years later to their parents and have them say,
It's okay, son. I was young and stupid once too.
Anyway, although the grass was still federally illegal, this didn't really do much, cause in 1976, 1 in 8 Americans over the age of 12 admitted to smoking it in the past 30 days. Hippies though were especially interested in cannabis, so much so they went on something called the Hippie Trail, which was basically an excursion by the youths of the world to go over to the Middle East and India, all while riding in magic buses and discovering new ways to get absolutely blasted, such as smoking the concentrated Zaza resin known as hash. But acquiring the Zaza would soon get much harder, because you see, most of it came from Mexico, so in 1969 the US started patrolling the border, and in 1975 they got even more aggressive and started spraying herbicide on Mexican weed plants. And so good old supply and demand made grass prices skyrocket, which a lot of people started then growing the plant themselves in mini greenhouses, closets, bathtubs, storage units, basements, wherever they could. But then in 1982, Mr. Smarty Pants Ronald Reagan took it even a step further by encouraging the streamlined arrest of anyone in possession of an illegal substance, which was really dumb because most of the focus was on pot, all while crack, meth, and heroin were all still being transported and consumed on a regular basis. Even worse, this enforcement seemed to be racially motivated because despite plenty of traffickers and consumers being white, the majority of arrests were Latino and black youths, all while this bizarre over-focus on cannabis allowed the growing opioid epidemic to go unchecked. But thankfully, the US is slowly learning from their mistakes, where today 24 states have legalized the recreational use of marijuana. On top of that, the increased level of research on it has also found multiple medical use cases and can be prescribed to you by special doctors if seen fit. And although the Zaza is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, the overall perception of it has changed for the better, including in December 2022 when President Biden signed a bill to make it easier for researchers to obtain plants for their studies, which will hopefully accelerate the learning of positive and negative side effects of consuming the Za even further. But all that aside, the overall vibe towards the loud has gotten a lot more accepting, and these days more and more people view the smoking of the grass not as you being a junkie, but the same way as having a couple beers with the homies on a Friday night and watching some WWE. But what's your opinion on the devil's lettuce? Should it be legal everywhere, or are you still iffy on it? Comment that down below and see you in the next one.
January 1st, 2014. There is a line of people in front of a store in Denver, Colorado. Time goes by and they finally open, which then a man walks in and buys the first ever legal recreational bag of weed in the US and gets absolutely obliterated. And I'm pretty sure no one expected this event to bring forth one of the fastest growing industries in the United States. From being known as the murder drug in India to going to your local dispensary and buying an $80 bag of banana strawberry pudding flavored weed, this is the story of how the ZA went from illegal to a projected $100 billion industry by 2028. And it all started in the early 1900s. The initial regulation of cannabis in the United States came with the enactment of the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act. There is a widespread belief that the decision to outlaw cannabis was driven by racial motivations, for you see, during the early 1900s, a growing influx of Mexican immigrants into the US prompted a shift in media discourse towards portraying the ganja as a dangerous substance, leading to the implementation of stricter drug and cannabis laws. Media reports even went as far as labeling marijuana as the murder drug. Yeah, bro, not meth and not coke. Weed was the murder drug.
What are you doing, bro? Smoking that murder drug.
Oh, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, man, it makes you violent and literally go insane.
Oh, damn, I'll put it away. Thanks for warning me.
Nah, you good. Just don't do it again.
What's that?
This? Don't worry, this is just crack.
Also, during this time, newspapers frequently circulated assertions linking marijuana use to mental illness, promiscuity, and violent behavior. These claims significantly deterred recreational marijuana use among the majority of Americans, despite the substance not being widely recognized at the time. Which, my favorite of the bunch is definitely violent behavior. I just can't deny that every time I smoke a doozy at the end of my day, I get this sudden rage, and I just start fucking going apeshit. That's probably also a big reason why Bob Marley was such a war activist and always propagating rage and hatred.
Disclaimer, that was all sarcasm.
Anyway, later on, John Ehrlichman, or whatever the fuck his name is, a senior advisor to Nixon, was quoted as saying, well, the quote is pretty long and boring, so I'll just summarize it. Pause the video if you want to see the full version.
Did we know we were finessing the public about weed? See, of course, dog. But you gotta understand, bro. We did it for America. We got the public to associate hippies with weed and blacks with heroin. Then we criminalized the shit out of it and went full commando on them. We talking Rambo. We talking death to the chopper. Shit, we went full D-Day on them motherfuckers, man. We hit so many damn licks. Shit was kind of ridiculous.
This quote was kind of the catalyst of the 1970 Controlled Substance Act, which was the consolidation of over 200 previous drug laws into a single statute governing the production and distribution of specific substances. Under the Controlled Substance Act, drugs were categorized into 5 schedules based on their potential for abuse and medical utility. This streamlined the process of drafting and amending laws to encompass entire groups of drugs rather than addressing each one individually. Schedule 1 drugs, the most rigorously regulated, were classified as having no recognized medical value, so obviously medical marijuana must have been like the lowest schedule, right? Wrong! Despite evidence indicating a lower risk of abuse and clear medical benefits, marijuana was still placed under Schedule 1. Research has demonstrated its effectiveness in treating conditions such as AIDS, cancer, epilepsy, and various other medical ailments. But I guess Congress was still like,
it's not the Lord's loud. It's the devil's lettuce.
Since its initial prohibition, there have been ongoing movements advocating for the legalization of cannabis, which in the 1970s pressure to legalize weed intensified in California. Proposition 19 aimed to legalize the grass and was introduced on the ballot in 1972, but garnered only 33% of the vote, so it failed for now. The push for legalization has primarily focused on 3 distinct products: CBD, medical marijuana, and everybody's favorite, recreational marijuana. So finally in 1996, California became the pioneering state to overturn the prohibition of weed by legalizing medical marijuana, despite conflicting with the federal law, brah. Subsequently, in 2012, Colorado and Washington became the first states to legalize recreational weed use. Oh yeah.
Yo, bro, did you hear? Weed is
is finally legal. Really? Yeah, bro, I just bought this from a store. Shit is wild. So you're telling me if I went down to my underground farm, harvest my 20 or so pounds of weed, then go to the university campus, set up a weed lemonade stand, and sell all of my lemonades to the students, I'm not a drug dealer and just a businessman?
Nah, I think you can like have a couple grams and your operation is still, well, not gonna lie, bro. I got a wire and the FBI should be kicking your door in right about...
Which brings us to today, where the ZA is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, and because of that, there really isn't a lot of research on it. Between 2000 and 2018, $1.56 billion was allocated to cannabis research, with half of this sum dedicated to investigating the potential adverse effects of the drug in recreational use. This disproportionate allocation meant that understanding the harms of weed received 20 times more funding than any other area of research, while only a fraction, less than $5 million, was directed towards enhancing our understanding of its therapeutic application. In 2018, though, the Farm Bill legalized CBD throughout the US, as long as it followed the rules of staying below 0.3% THC, which this Farm Bill turned out to have a shit ton of legal loopholes, making the sale of real weed online completely legal and possible. More on that later. Anyway, because of the lack of research and, well, frankly, awful regulations, we are currently in the wild west of the cannabis industry. You might assume buying weed from a big brand is safer than, let's say, your friendly neighborhood plug, and in some cases it might be, but a lot of times your plug is selling the same shit a dispensary is, just the dispensary is putting it in a fancy bag. Even worse, there's a big issue with sprayed weed, which basically means bud that is artificially flavored in a machine to give the illusion of it being some exotic Havana pack, when in reality it's just a mid sprayed with banana flavor. So you're telling me this eighth costs $100 because it was grown and harvested in Uganda, Africa, right next to the exotic banana farms, and that's why it's banana flavor? Yup. Then why is there a spray bottle right there labeled banana?
Why are you asking so many questions, man? Are you a cop?
What? No.
Guys, get over here. We gotta kill this guy.
But you can't fully blame the growers and dispensaries for this. The problem is the regulations and taxes that are put on these products are so hefty it makes turning a profit really hard. Basically, if your manufacturing cost isn't like at least 10 times less what you're selling it for, you're kinda screwed. There's also a multi-billion-dollar industry that spawned from the 2018 Farm Bill called the derivative industry. And if you don't know what derivatives are, they're basically weed, but sometimes altered chemically, like for example HHC, which is just THC but with an extra hydrogen molecule. The most insane derivative is THCA though, which is quite literally just weed, only in its normal state before you heat it, it isn't. It's only after when you light it that shit converts to regular old, get you smacked like a penguin THC, which, you know, unless your main method of getting high is sticking the nug up your ass. What I'm saying is, THCA is in every sense just THC when you are using it for the purpose of getting faded, which you probably are. But just because we are currently in the wild west of the weed industry doesn't mean it's gonna be like this forever. More and more countries are legalizing and propelling weed further and further away from the dark shadow it used to be under. Germany is legalizing on April 1st, 2024, Spain has social cannabis clubs, the Netherlands just legalized, Canada legalized, etc. It seems every year that goes by, more and more countries are legalizing. And especially in the US, once they start getting solid tax laws and regulations on the stuff, I think a lot of the problems I mentioned earlier will fix themselves. Honestly, this is very cool, and I do believe you and me will live long enough to one day witness a generation who grow up with weed being looked at the same way as alcohol. The way I see it, as the old generation of politicians and world leaders fades, the stigma surrounding weed will too. You can even see glimpses of it today, as a lot of politicians are using legal weed as a way to get your vote, which, you know, don't let that be your main motivation for voting for someone, but you know, it's a bonus.
Socializing high. You ever tried holding a conversation while being blasted? It usually ends up being a mixture of trying to remember what the other guy said whilst analyzing the little bit of details that did manage to penetrate into your mind. Just recently, I had a guy come up to me at the store like,
should I get the spicy ones or the cheesy ones?
"Hey bro, what you doing at Walmart?"
Who is this guy? Ah, yeah. We met at that party a month ago. Oh yeah, I should say something.
"Yeah bro, just chilling."
Just chilling at Walmart?
That's cool that you can just
what does
chill
that
like
even
that.
mean?
My mom just
Should I
died
say
yesterday
something
and
to add to
I don't
it?
know where to go.
No, it's too long
I'm gonna
already.
be homeless soon.
Wait,
What's this guy talking about?
So yeah, just been really sad because of that lately.
Yeah, man, I get you. But don't worry, cause there's always a bright side at the end of the tunnel, man.
Bright side at the end of the tunnel? My mom just died, and I'm gonna be homeless now, so I don't know about that, man.
I'm sorry, bro. I didn't know.
But I just told you 10 seconds ago.
Okay, see you, bro. Hope things get better soon. What was that guy talking about? I don't know. I think I'll take the spicy Doritos. It's even worse when you blast it onto Mars with a spaceship type of high. Cause I swear, I be getting memory wiped every 5 seconds. Like, I don't want to be mean or anything, but please understand, if you don't get your point across in 5 seconds or less, I'ma be right back to thinking about that one meme on Reddit I saw 2 weeks ago. Bro, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I finally got it. The secret to making endless money is... And that's all you gotta do. Wait, sorry, bro. I'm kind of faded than a hoe out here right now, so you said the secret to making endless dough was...
Yeah, man, what I was basically saying was that
All you gotta do is start a business involving...
So yeah, man, I can help you get started. I've already quit my job and moved to Dubai. You can join me.
Move to Dubai? What's this guy on about? I think I'm just gonna leave. So bro, what you think? You ready to get rich?
Nah, man, I don't think that's gonna work. Now, excuse me, I'm gonna go take a shit.
It's not all bad though. You gotta love it when you see a homie at the store who's also blasted to the moon. The Zaza makes you connected on a multiversal level like, hey bro, what you doing?
Nothing, chillin'. Funny you say that. I would have answered the exact same way if you asked me that question. Sorry, man. I'm faded than a hoe right now, and I just got hit with that memory wipe. So what you say again?
Oh shit, you high too?
Duh, I'm at the store. What else would I be?
For sure. You trying to hit up that candy section though?
Damn dog, you read my mind.
Unfortunately, social situations can be pretty tough if you're not an experienced blazer, especially if you're talking to people you want to leave a good impression on. But remember, if you're ever in irreversible trouble and you have no idea what to respond, just say,
That's crazy, bruh, but I'm way too faded right now.
I'm sorry, I don't think I quite understand.
I said that I'm faded than a hoe up in this bit.
No, Charles, you're fired.